If you are constantly fighting yourself, if you are constantly at war with yourself, beating yourself up, hard on yourself, I'm my own worst critic, like so many nice guys out there. Here's one of the scenarios that you're setting up, and that is when you are constantly fighting yourself, you can't not lose because you always have to be a loser when you are fighting yourself. Let's make sense of this in the conversation that I had on this week's coaching call. Stick around to the end because I'm going to show you one of the most powerful questions that you can ask yourself when you have a history and habit of being very hard on yourself. But first, hey legend, I'm Mike Campbell. I am the anti-nice guy men's coach. I'm the founder of the Everyday Legends Academy, and I help nice guys to build self-respect, self-worth, and a solid sense of security so that you can be solid, grounded, secure in yourself. Kill your nice guy and actually get more from life, love, and the everyday. So let's have a look at what was going on in this coaching session with Steve. If you're new around here, make sure you like, subscribe if you want to see more real, immediate. Like I have these coaching calls and then I hit record and we dive down into some of the lessons on these, as well as all the other content that I have for creating, supporting, and bringing about the anti-nice guy. Your step from nice guy on the way to unfuckwithable good man. This was showing up for Steve. He has, like many guys that come into this work in the Everyday Legends Academy, a huge history of being very, very hard on himself. I'm my own worst critic, is the often spoken words. And that is a challenge for a lot of guys. We feel like if I'm not berating myself and beating myself up and expecting more of me, who will? I won't. I'll let myself away with everything. I won't care. And therefore, I won't have any worth or value. I need to berate myself and hate myself into some kind of success. It doesn't make sense when I say it, right? So that I can then have worth, have value, be liked, be respected, approval, etc. Always is this external form of validation. You can't hate yourself to a positive place, right? You can't hate your body to a positive place. You can't treat yourself like a piece of shit and hope to end up in a place where you are in a solid place. Or said differently, you can't disrespect yourself to a place of self-respect. And so this is one of the things that we're talking about with Steve. And this mode is what plays out for so many guys. I'm hard on myself, all that kind of stuff. What it ends up being, and this is what it was for Steve, is I feel like I'm constantly, fighting myself. And this is the thing. A lot of men will take on this identity, either with themselves or the world. I'm a fighter, I'm a fighter, I'm a fighter. But whatever comes out those words, I am, they're identifiers. I have to become that. And so if I think I am a fighter, whilst there's beautiful positives in that, it also means I'm creating a box and a prison sentence to myself. I have to fight. So I will fight everything. I will never allow life to be easy for myself, to be gracious. I'll never allow myself to have grace. I will always find a way to have to fight. And if I want ease and great things in my life, those two things shall not meet. So I will fight life and I'll fight myself, and it becomes part of my identity. It's the only way that I think I can operate. But like Steve, I'll look one day and I'll be like, this isn't working for me. Yes, there's some beauty in here, but I'm constantly battling myself. I'm constantly at war with myself. And if you are constantly at war with yourself, it means that you can't not lose. You have to be the loser when you are constantly at war with yourself. Yep, you win the arguments with yourself, but you lose, you lose, you lose. Berating yourself, frustrated with yourself, judging yourself, shaming yourself, hiding away so that you can't be judged or perhaps rejected out there in the world. One of the things that I gave Steve is a bit of support, and we got into a lot more depth than I've got time for in this video. And this is something I see true for so many men, especially nice guys, who have this tendency to be very hard on themselves and be constantly at war with themselves. One of the things to develop, to work on, and to develop is to have an adequate, healthy grace for oneself, combined with determination. Because for the guy who's at war with themselves and has the most ridiculous expectation for himself, the idea of having grace goes this pendulum swing. I'm just going to let myself away with anything and then not care and not try. No, that's apathy. What we have to combine that with is a healthy dose of determination and setting a standard for yourself. It's very different to have a standard of excellence for yourself, which is internally driven, than having a huge set of expectations, which is generally fear driven, right? Perfectionism and all this kind of stuff is driven by fear and external, how I'm seen externally. So We talked about this and we're working on Steve developing grace. Now, one of the things that he can ask himself of a morning, of a day, in moments is, how can I have grace with myself? How could I be more graceful with myself today? And that gets to be combined with whilst also being determined. Like, what am I driven towards? And what can I actually allow myself to have a little bit more ease in? But here is the more powerful question, I think. It's very simple. On a day-to-day basis, sit down and journal on it, but in a moment-to-moment basis as well, where I'm given a choice. I could choose this old path, smashing myself, hating myself, berating myself, being at war with myself, or something else. And the question is this: how can I be kind to myself in this moment? Now, you could mistake that and go, well, being kind to myself would be not doing the challenging thing and just letting myself away with it. But if I'm setting up a harder life in the long term, I would argue that is not being kind on yourself. So, how can I be kind to myself in this moment to create a kinder life for myself? You can extend that piece on in brackets if you need to. But this is the start of changing the relationship that you have with yourself. Because if you're at war with yourself, then you set up a situation where you are constantly losing. You can't not lose if you're at war with yourself. So, how can you win? How can you come into union? How can you be more at peace within yourself? Well, that starts with being kinder to yourself. Not letting yourself away with shit, being kinder. And I will tell you what absolutely is the mark of kindness that so many nice guys need to step into. I've been there myself, gentlemen. And that is self respect. So, how can I be kind to myself in this moment? What would it look like if I had respect? If I had self respect, what would it look like to respect myself in this moment, today, in this situation, whatever the context is for you? Take those questions with you, practice them, journal on them, reflect on them, discuss them. And here's the other little bonus tool when it comes to developing grace and kindness and respect for yourself. You're going to need other people, especially when you can't see it, when you believe all your bad press, when you're berating yourself, when you fall back into old habits. Other people who can see what you're working on, what you're committed to, who can see the value in you and remind you of it and invite you forward into being kinder to yourself so that you can be kinder to your long term, kinder to your future. That has been today's Coaching Corner. I trust that you take something from this. Remember, pass this on to a man that you think will benefit from it, that it will help, that might enjoy it. Like, subscribe, click all the buttons so that you get notifications for this. Most people who watch these haven't yet subscribed. It does a huge service to me so we can get these in front of more men. It also means that you can catch them all when they come out. That's today's Coaching Corner. Remember, self-respect is what sits at the foundation of a solid, unfuckwithable good man. Start there.